I don't know if you're sponsored by DraftKings, but
Yeah.
if I was on DraftKings, I would be wagering in favor of Donald Trump having paid for a couple abortions.
Yeah, this episode of Speech Center brought to you by DraftKings.
Maybe it should have been Draft Queens so we don't get sued.
Yeah, Draft Queens. This episode of Speech Center brought to you by Draft Queens. We've got 2-to-1 odds as to whether or not Donald Trump paid for an abortion. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speech Center, a Love It or Leave It production. I'm your host, Jon Lovett, and I haven't seen a single second of what this show is parodying, but our producers are telling me it's a funny idea. So I'm rolling with it. I was told to be loud and fast. Here on Speech Center, we are highlighting the biggest moments in public speaking and written statements from the 2024 presidential campaign. Who's got the best game? America's top grandpa, Joe Biden, or America's worst grandpa, Donald J. Trump? And joining me today is someone who actually knows about sports, even though he is gay. It's Tim Miller.
This is my teenage dream, except for instead of you, it would have been like, I don't know, Adam Rippon or something.
Oh.
I guess I wasn't a teenager when he was around, but David Beckham. Gay Politics Sports Center. I mean, this is my teenage fantasy, and thank you for making it real for me, Jon Lovett.
Today on the show, we're taking a closer look at Trump's video statement on abortion and what his strategy might be behind this play. Strategy is lying. We'll also be breaking down Biden's speech on his new plan for student debt relief. Is his proposal a slam dunk, or will the Supreme Court block his shot? That's right. There's more basketball analogies where that came from. You ready to get into this, Tim?
I'm blowing the whistle.
All right, let's cue the first Trump clip.
My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state. Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people.
Tim, let's talk about Trump's statement here. I saw a lot of credulous coverage that Trump had come out against a national abortion ban in this statement. Do you believe that he did?
I think he tricked some pretty stupid sports reporters out there, John. I think he tricked some people into saying that he did. But no, I don't think that he did. I find the most amusing about this is just the disastrous timing to put this out one day before he gives it back to the law of the state. And the state of Arizona is like, I'm going to take you up on that, boss. We're going back to 1864, 0 weeks, no exceptions.
Yeah, it does seem like the whole point of this statement is he wants all the credit he could possibly get with conservatives, with the pro-life crowd, for overturning Roe v. Wade. He knows he needs that to win, but he doesn't want to own any of the incredibly unpopular consequences of that decision. And so he has to come out and say he's for IVF, even though the overturn of Roe v. Wade led to the possibility of IVF being banned in places like Alabama. He has to avoid taking a position on a national abortion ban because a national abortion ban is an 80-20 issue, right? And then when Arizona rules that based on the overturn of Roe v. Wade and their reading of the law that abortion is banned at 0 weeks, based on a law from the 1800s, he has to come out there and say that he's against it. Carrie Lake, even though she was in favor of it, has to come out there and pretend she's against it because they understand that their position is incredibly unpopular. This speech is a speech that says, I know I'm under pressure from the right to say where I stand on a national abortion ban because a conservative Congress would pass a national abortion ban, but I don't want to say that right now. I don't want to go and own that right now. Wink, wink. We have to win elections.
Well, and he knows it's a huge loser. The policy makes no sense. Like it's a nonsense policy trying to have it both ways. So in some ways that helps him with certain people who aren't paying that close of attention, maybe, I guess. But I mean, it isn't coming from a place of strength.
And he doesn't look strong in this speech. He looks like this reads it like a hostage statement. It is worth noting the moments when Donald Trump softens his edges, rounds the corners, because that's not his instinct, right? That's not his instinct. And we know that he's very good at making a point very simply and inelegantly. But here he's trying to be so careful. He's trying to be so nuanced. And when he's doing that, you know that he is actually hearing from smarter people than the people that managed his previous campaign, telling him how bad a situation he is in because of the overturn of Roe v. Wade, the way that has led to Democrats winning in special elections, and the fact that there has been reporting about him coming out in favor of a national ban, and that he, in a radio interview, said he was very much considering a 15-week ban.
It must be remembered that the Democrats are the radical ones on this position because they support abortion up to and even beyond the 9th month. The concept of having an abortion in the later months and even execution after birth, and that's exactly what it is, the baby is born, the baby is executed after birth, is unacceptable, and almost everyone agrees with that.
Who is this for? Who is the person out there that's like, I was thinking about Joe Biden as going to be my candidate, but then I heard from Donald Trump, his opponent, that Democrats murder children after they are born. Who is this for?
It's for Donald Trump. This is where he's comfortable. You mentioned this. Donald Trump is real comfortable now talking about how the Democrats are too evil, right? And going after people, counterpunching, right? He's like, oh yeah, these Democrats are chopping off the baby's head as soon as it gets outside the vagina. It might be for a tiny percentage of pro-life evangelicals that might not want to vote for him, but those folks have already been on board, right? Like, I do think this was maybe a useful thing for him in 2016, but at this point, they've already made their deal with the devil, so I don't know that it's actually adding any voters.
There was a lot of reporting from before Trump was the nominee in 2016 and before he was president, certainly before he appointed Supreme Court justices. On some level, he thought, like, these evangelicals are kind of weird, and like, I think this issue's a loser. Like, are you guys sure you really want me to go through with this? Now he feels like he has to proudly own appointing the judges who overturned Roe v. Wade, and I wonder if you think that there's a strategic reason he has to do that, or if this is just classic Trump, which is, it is an accomplishment, and so he's going to be fucking proud of it.
Classic Trump. It's a trophy. It's
Yeah,
a trophy.
it's a
You know, it's like I don't know. He won the senior and the under senior golf tournament at Mar-a-Lago, according to him. He gave himself 2 trophies this year. He's given himself 2 trophies. You know, the remaining few Republican friends that still talk to me, one of them said that they were on a plane with Trump like days before the election in 2016, when Trump is talking to a couple of the other senators, you know, going, do we have to go all the way on this abortion thing? Like, can't I back off it a little bit? Like, isn't there a little wiggle room? Instinctually, he gets it, but he's stuck. He's like a stuck ocelot. Is an ocelot that color? What color is that? What color animal
What
would
color
that
is
be?
that?
It's sort a caged
vaguely,
zoo animal of some
sort
kind.
of a badger color, kind of. Let's talk about his presentation. Is he in front of a portrait of ships? Are those old ships? I love man art. I love art for men. If you ever go to like a fancy hotel, if you go into like where the men are supposed to go, like the men's lounge, it's horses, it's buffalo, and it's ships. And I like that.
The problem, though, is that like the cigar has rubbed off on his face. He's darkened his face to such a degree that we're really into brown face. Like, this is like a burnt umber.
Yeah.
Like, here's your sport reference. Why is he rubbing pine tar? You know, you put on your baseball bat, he's like rubbing pine tar on his face.
Yeah.
Why?
Whenever he ends up coming down to the Mar-a-Lago buffet in a hat midday with the jacket, when he hasn't had full hair and makeup, the full fucking power washer and airbrush thing, he's so pale under there. Everyone's like, all the other presidents aged except for Trump. It's like, no. Trump aged. He aged terribly under there. He's just under 2 inches of fucking shellac.
Does this look like a man that cares about the babies? Also, think about the contrast. We're going for kindly here, right? You know, the Democrats want to do post-birth murder, and I care about these little babies. This looks like a scary person. If he kissed the baby, imagine what would come off on their nubile skin.
Yeah.
It would be really creepy.
If he ran straight into a white wall, there'd just be a Trump mask, just a full photo of himself on that wall. Turning to Joseph Robinette Biden, let's see how Biden did in Wisconsin when he announced his new student debt relief plan, a policy matter that Tim fucking hates. He wants the kids to suffer.
While college degree still is a ticket to the middle class, that ticket's becoming much too expensive. Today, too many Americans, especially young people, are saddled with unsustainable debts in exchange for a college degree. The ability for working and middle-class folks to repay their student loans has become so burdensome that a lot can't repay it for even decades after being in school.
What do you think, Tim? What do you think? You like having you want the banks to have their boot on the neck of Generation Z. That's what you want. You like the bank-shaped fucking heel digging into the neck skin of America's youth.
I know this is maybe my old habits die hard, but in my mind's eye, I'm picturing like a Bates sociology student who like decided that they wanted to sell their, you know, kind of erotic art on Etsy, and they need to get paid back. And I know that that's not all of the people that are going to get this. I do. Trust me. There are a lot of people in Wisconsin. I noticed these in Wisconsin. A lot of people in Wisconsin didn't go to college. It'd be nice to have some sympathetic people around him. Instead of on the state, could we have some teachers? Could we have some public defenders? Could we have a mechanic? Could we have a nurse?
You know who's sympathetic to your point of view? Joseph Robinette Biden. If your goal is to say, I'm going to be the bulwark against authoritarianism, I'm going to prove that government can work, he is trying to show that he is dedicated to fulfilling that promise. And I think that is a worthy thing to do.
I can fight authoritarianism and prove democracy can work by doing kind of like a soft, kindly authoritarianism where the president just gets to decide by fiat that you don't have to pay.
I already told you.
I don't love that. I don't love it. That's all.
I know.
It's fine. I'm still for Joe Biden. It's fine. I don't love that. We're doing a democracy thing. I'm sorry to the kids that paid too much. Maybe could we cut a deal? Joe did some deals, Deal and Joe. Could we take some of the could we get JD Vance in a room and take some of the Harvard, take some money from the Harvard endowment? Yeah, can we give that to some nurses? Awesome, I'm on board for that.
One of the reasons Joe Biden hesitated at the beginning of his administration to just doing the cancellation by executive order is because he wanted to do a bill that addressed the actual systemic issues. Do you see there was that college costs at some places are cresting above $100,000 in tuition? It's ridiculous.
You won't know what makes me feel like an old man, get off my lawn, is going back to the freshman dorm at the George Washington University now. I mean, it's like the Ritz-Carlton in there. You know what I mean? Like these kids,
but most people
they've got like a little morning. They've got a morning little
Tim,
champagne toast now in Thurston Hall.
As you know,
it's
Tim,
okay, whatever.
You know, as I know, that most of the debt being carried by people in America are not people that went to fancy schools like George Washington University, the American University of DuPont Circle.
People say to me, it's great you're helping people into college. How about all those hardworking people who grew up and had no opportunity to go to college? I get it. That's the neighborhood I come from. That's why a big part of my economic agenda is investing in all Americans, whether you attend college or not. My Labor Department is investing $200 million in grants for registered apprenticeship programs around the country. These apprenticeship programs are 4 and 5 years before you qualify to have a license. I love people saying, well, why are you so pro-union, pro-labor? A lot of people think you can walk up and say, I want to be an electrician, and you're an electrician.
Joe Biden would be doing all kinds of policies that would benefit people that didn't go or couldn't go to college, which he talks about all the time. And by the way, Joe Biden is always talking about the fact that there are lots of people who don't get to go to college. And by the way, that should be fucking fine.
Is this going to help? I guess that's also a question also. Are there people out there that weren't going to vote for Joe Biden that are now because their debt's canceled? Maybe, hopefully some of these ingrates turn out and vote now and bring a pal. Okay, so I'm fine. If Joe Biden's going to talk about this, I would like Grant and Joe. I'd like him in the motorcycle jacket.
100%.
I want him with a couple normie people who give back to society. I love all of you people listening who give back to society. Public defenders, teachers, nurses. You deserve it. You deserve it. I'm for it.
I also want to say, in this speech, he says, that's why a big part of my economic agenda is investing in all Americans, whether you attend college or not. We're expanding career and technical education at high schools. Think about how many of these SHOP programs have been dropped. People don't know whether or not they can work with their hands. They're not being able to get started. We want to provide pathways to good middle-class jobs without college. So I do think he understands that's important, but it's also been a very confusing and uncertain time for anyone walking around with this debt. The payments were frozen, right? People made decisions about where they were going to live, how they were going to live when those payments were frozen. Then they're told the debt's going to be canceled. Then it's uncanceled. And you can have your qualms, your little right-wing qualms, that little part of yourself that won't fucking die, that little light, that little fucking William Buckley screaming deep inside of your chest, standing athwart student debt cancellation, yelling, stop, fine. You can have that all you want. But for a lot of people, you can say they should be living more frugally. Good for you. They've been carrying around a debt they weren't sure if they were going to have to pay or not, and some certainty would be good.
It's fine. I'm for certainty. Are we picking up any votes? I just want to beat Donald Trump. I'm happy.
I hope we are.
Help us beat Donald Trump. But are we picking up? It seems to me that many of these people, if you just look at the numbers, we're kind of playing to folks we already got in the tent here.
It is a broken, fucked up system that tells 17 and 8-year-olds to make a decision We don't let them rent cars. We don't let them drink alcohol. But we're saying to them they can make a decision that could result in them carrying tens of thousands, if not more, debt around for decades when they've received no financial literacy education whatsoever in their schooling, when their parents maybe don't know or didn't go to college themselves or don't understand how all this works. People carrying around that burden as adults. Like, Donald Trump's got to declare bankruptcy 6 fucking times at the corporate level. Why? But young people don't get that same opportunity if they took on this debt and didn't have any way out of it. So I hear you. I hear that little bit of the National Review in your bones, the kind of last bits of your conservative immune system trying to kill the host that has taken over your body. I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
The one thing that we can agree on is that, like, the system is broken. We should try to find some solutions. I don't really love this solution, this little temporary Band-Aid thing. We give some people some money and hope and pat some heads and then hope it goes away. I don't love that solution. It's better than what Trump is offering. The Trump University of America, where they teach patriotic correctness to every American that wants it for free. I don't love that plan, all right? I like the Joe Biden plan better by comparison.
Here's one place where I think we should agree. I think there should be absolutely no debt forgiveness whatsoever for anyone who received an MBA.
There we go. We can agree with that. MBAs, you're fucking stuck. You pay the bill. You pay the full freight, MBAs.
Yeah, anybody that took 2 years in fucking cocktail party banter and spreadsheets, you went to college for networking. You're out. All right, Tim, who do you think came out of these 2 speeches looking the best? I don't think this is a hard one.
I'm going to have to go Joe Biden on that one. Low bar. Not exactly Caitlin Clark for South Carolina here. All right. Not exactly high level.
Do we think that either one of these speeches moved the needle for them? I would probably say no. I think for Trump, I think this hurt him ultimately more than it helped him. I think it really kind of created a national conversation about his actual positions on abortion, which I do not think redounded to his benefit. For Joe Biden, I think the speech is fine. I don't think the speech ultimately matters. I think whether or not being caught trying on this issue gets him the credit he wants with the audience he wants it with and doesn't draw the blowback that Tim's afraid of, and I think we just don't know.
Yeah, I think we know. As Stephen A. Smith would say, the Joe Biden speech doesn't matter at all. Not at all. It didn't matter at all. We didn't. Would we even know? Would we have even known it happened if we didn't do this segment? Probably not.
I'd follow the news, but yeah, okay. And that's Speech Center. This is the part of Speech Center where we do the kind of banter that Shaq and Charles Barkley does.
About big women.
Big women in San Antonio. If you liked this white hot banter, Tim will be joining me in Austin on Sunday. Go to cricket.com/events. You can get those tickets right now. Go check out his pod, The Next Level. Go check out the Bulwark podcast.
If you want to get upset, you're tired of agreeing with Jon Lovett and his socialism.
Do you want someone who's going to tell you what you want to hear? Or do you want someone who's going to tell you what you want to hear most of the time?
Exactly.